We are back for another episode of The Wedding Frame, and this time I have a fellow photographer on with me, Jenny from Jenny Garrett Photography. Hello, Jenny. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Lizette, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Good, good. Well, you know what? I really want to know everything about how you started. Give me all of your origin story and how you even got into weddings. I'd love to know it all.
Yeah, so I feel like every time I tell this story, I have to figure out how I actually started because I feel like photography's always been a part of my story. I can remember my parents' house, like, as a young child, that all of the hallway, the whole entire hallway was, like, all family photos, and that was, like, the most important thing to my mom and my dad. And so they always gave me the opportunity to take photographs. I always had like a little Kodak Disposable on me. I was that kid taking pictures on every field trip. And I just never was without a camera. And it just kind of, started with those point and shoots and all of a sudden kind of worked its way up one day. My mom had gotten a Canon Rebel XSI for Christmas, from my dad one year, and I don't even think she used it once. I stole it before she had the opportunity to. So, I've been taking pictures as long as I can remember.
You know what? That's really cool that you realized at such a young age that you had a passion for something, anything, and it's something that you still do to this day. I love that. Did you start out with weddings, or did you do it like a lot of us, where you started out shooting families?
Yeah, so I feel like it just kind of naturally progressed. I started shooting, like, my friends just for fun, doing, like, senior photographs for them or whatnot. And then when I was a senior in high school, I actually shot my first wedding at 18. And I remember being so excited and, like, so nervous all at the same time. But that just kind of naturally progressed into, like, engagements, more weddings. And for kind of a short period of time, actually, I was in the fashion world. So I shot for a couple companies and did that while I was, like, going through college and everything. So I've kind of had a little bit of sprinkle of everything, but weddings are my favorite.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Like, I think weddings are something that really has us refine all kinds of photography skill sets, right?
Yes, exactly.
Did you love going to weddings as much as I did before I started shooting? I mean, you started at 18, so I don't know how many weddings you went to before that. Was that your first taste of a wedding, photographing one?
Well, yes and no. So that one was, like, my first solo, like, I got hired, there was a contract of sorts. I was
Mhm.
paid I think I got paid $1,800, and I thought that that was
Wow.
insane. Yeah.
Uh, that's really good for your first wedding. I think I charged 500 for mine. So, and at 18 years old, oh my gosh, that's really good.
Okay, so I don't know if you've seen the movie 27 Dresses, but I was, like, the character Jane. Have you seen it?
I
Like, do
actually
you know?
don't remember or know. Wait,
No! Okay,
what's the
put it
premise?
on put it on as your next editing movie. Basically, she's in love with her boss. Her sister comes from out of town. The sister ends up engaged to the boss, but she, like, goes to all these weddings and has 27 dresses from, like, bridesmaid dresses. Anyways, it's such a cute movie. You
Okay,
have to watch it. I don't wanna spoil it for you. But
I will.
it, like, opens up with her as, like, a young girl fixing a problem on a bride's wedding day where her dress rips, and she goes in and she, like, takes this thing out of her hair and, like, fixes it up really quick, and the bride turns around and is like, "Thanks, Jane, like, I wouldn't be getting married without you," or whatever. And I just remember feeling like, "Oh my gosh, like, I wanna help people on the most important day of their life, and, like, what does that look like?" So I don't think you know this about me, but I actually wanted to be a wedding planner and not a wedding photographer.
You know, for some reason, that does not surprise me.
Yeah.
I feel like you would be a great planner, and you
Thanks.
probably do have a bit of a planner hat when you are shooting weddings.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I started like, when I went to college, I started in communications and was planning on getting a degree in business to run my own planning business, and God had other plans, which was great, because I ended up being able to pursue photography instead. So that was super cool. But yeah, I don't know. The planner hat, I feel like never comes fully off,
I
as
mean,
I'm
that
sure
is
you know
such
too.
yeah, and that is such an asset when you are at a wedding, you know. I can already see you're the photographer who has the sewing kit with her and just prepared for anything.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't imagine the stuff that I have in my car just in case.
That's awesome. So, wow, so even though you shot your first wedding at 18, you still were like, "I wanna plan this," and did you go to college? Oh, yeah, you said you went to college with that in mind. So,
Hmm.
what happened? Like, what did you just figure, like, photography was it for you? For me, I think planning is so stressful, and I bow down to all the planners that everything they have to deal with. So, what was it for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. So for me, my story is wild. I had a former principal one day when I was still in high school asked me if I had ever considered teaching and being an educator.
Ooh.
And I told him, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. Um, and I was sitting in a business class reading The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. And I can remember thinking, what am I doing here trying to get a business degree? Because by that time I decided I wanted to be a photographer. So like we had gone past the planning point and
Okay.
I was ready to do something else. And I just remember sitting there going, what am I doing? I love literature. I love people's stories. I love like hearing all of this and I want to do that, but how do I do that? And so um teaching was stable. It was a stable, steady income. It was something that I could have benefits with and take care of myself with, and that was always really important to me. And so I decided to pursue teaching instead of wedding planning and
Okay.
and do photography on the side still.
Okay.
Yeah, very
So
different.
did you actually do teaching for a while?
Yeah, so I was a public school educator for 7 years.
Oh, 7 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Another great asset to, you know, what you do because we we need to educate our couples and like I'm sure like when you're talking to them like in a consultation or whatever, like that comes out, you know, like just
Yeah.
y-
It never
wow.
stops. It's always gonna be a part of me, and I've even ran workshops, and I have one coming up, so I'm really excited for that, but yeah,
Amazing.
it never ends,
Jenny, I want to
uh
hear more about these workshops. So you've already conducted workshops and you have a new one coming out. Please tell me more about that.
oh my gosh, you're so sweet. So, I haven't ran a workshop since 2016, and it was called the Luminous Workshop, and it was just a bunch of beginner photographers in a house learning about basics. Like, I wanted it to be something that anybody could take, whether they were a beginner or more advanced, and just feel like they were at home.
Mhm.
This workshop that's coming up is, is much different than that. This one's going to be at a private estate. It's much more
Mhm.
elevated, much more um, for people who are looking to so I'll just tell you the name of it. I haven't told anybody this. You're the first one, Lizette, but
Oh,
it's called Own Your Eye, and it's all about owning your style and owning the photographer that you are because we live in a world where trends are so you know how they are. It's like a revolving door. They come and they go. And as a photographer, you need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and say, this is what I do, and this is what I'm confident in, this is what I'm good at, this is what I can provide. And it's not to bash on trends, it's just to say, look, this is me, this is my eye, this is what I can offer. So it's for those photographers who feel like they might be a little bit stuck in refining who they are or their craft or who they want to shoot for, right? Because we all know there's different like a little bit of different levels there. So yeah, it's all about refinement.
oh my gosh, I love that. I feel like that's a little bit different from a lot of the workshops that I see out there in such a great way. Like that is something that a lot of us photographers struggle with, finding our eye and finding like yes, exactly like you said, who we want to shoot for. It's I know like I've had a like editing identity crisis many times.
Yes.
That's part of it too, right? It's like there's all these different editing styles, and it's kind of hard not to ignore the trends. And I always say, like, you should lean into them a little bit
Mhm.
because you might get left behind, but you also don't want to drastically change who you are and what you're passionate about. Right. So, oh my
Yeah.
God, that's amazing. I love that. And
Thank
yes.
you.
And when you said teaching, I was like, wait, not just with couples, you should be putting education out there. And you are. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so excited for it. It's gonna be beautiful. I can't wait.
When is it?
So, I'm still working out logistics, so that's why I haven't announced anything quite
Okay.
yet, but we're looking towards the very beginning of summer so that it's not too hot out because there will be a styled shoot portion. So
Amazing. And will you be taking part in shooting the styled shoot and like kind of guiding, or is it just kind of a free for all thing?
So I'll be helping direct when necessary, but I also am giving the photographers time. It's going to be very small. I'm trying to keep it very intimate on purpose.
Okay.
I'm only taking maybe 8 photographers. That's like my absolute max. Um, so I will be shooting and guiding them, but again, it's sort of like I believe that photographers should know the techniques, right? You should know how to shoot with flash. You should know how to shoot ambient light. You should know how to do X, Y, or Z. You should be able to get a blurry shot, like all of those different things. And I think I want to be there to help guide them to understand how to do those things if they're kind of stuck or they're not sure exactly how to master that. But at the same time, it is really about owning who they are. And so I hope the style shoot is at more of the end. It's like a 2-day workshop, and that's in the morning, and then we have sort of a reflection in the afternoon. I hope
Mhm.
that day one, when we're sitting there and talking about who they are and what they like and what their style is, I hope that they can take all of that and then put it into the styled shoot. So I'm there to help guide and direct, just like we kind of are as like more documentary style photographers, right? You're there to support and guide, but also let things flow naturally.
Yeah, that's going to be so valuable to them. I can't wait to see like, how it goes. Like, I hope you put everything out there like on social media or whatever, because I think we definitely and this is why I started this podcast too. It's more so for like the newer photographers. I
Hmm.
feel like it's, I don't know, like, why not, pass on our knowledge to
Yeah.
the newer ones so they can struggle a little less. I know I did a lot of struggling,
Yeah.
self-taught, but and I love the fact, going back to the fact that you had a mentor. And how did that come about?
Yeah. So, Lizette, you know that I'm pretty outgoing. So I am not shy by any means. And I was actually at my brother. I have an older brother. He's 3 years older than me, and
Oh,
we were on his senior photo shoot, and
oh,
I had asked my mom, like, "Hey, can you see if it's okay if I'm taking some photos in the background?" Which, like, then was a huge no-no, but the photographer was like, "Yeah, that's fine." Like, "What is this?" In her mind, she was probably thinking, "What is this, like, 14, 15-year-old girl gonna do
oh my god, I
during
love.
this shoot?" And so I was just in the background snapping away, and at the end of the session, I went up to the photographer and I said, "Hey, do you wanna see what I shot?" And she was like, "Sure." So I started showing her photos and she's like, "Oh, like, these are actually really good." And, like, you were behind me, like, in the background, not even, doing anything. And she goes, I'm looking for an intern. Like, would you be interested?" And without hesitation, I'm like, "Yes, tell me more. Let's go."
Oh my
Um,
gosh, Jenny, like, what luck, I think,
yeah.
because I mean, well, actually, I can't say luck because the fact that you already had a natural talent and that she saw it, but I guess luck in the fact that she needed an intern, that you happened to tag along to your brother's senior shoot.
Yeah.
That is such a cute story. But
Thanks.
yeah, that's, not a lot of us even think to invest or ask someone to be a mentor. So you started it right. And I think the fact that, because you had a mentor, you charged what you did on your first wedding is also really important, because I think there's some photographers, or a lot, who undercharge. We've been
Yeah.
hearing that a lot. So,
Yeah, no, and I think, I would hate I'm just a very transparent person. I would love to be like, "Oh, and I haven't ever had any doubts, and I charge what I'm worth," and whatever, and, to anybody who's listening, like, especially beginners, like, I feel like I'm constantly trying to figure out what I'm going to do with pricing next and how to pivot. Just like we were talking about earlier, like pivoting a little bit with like Gen Z couples and whatnot. Like I've redone my pricing to meet half day, full day, multi-day travel
Yes.
day expectations rather than hourly. And so you kind of have to constantly look at yourself and go, like, what am I doing and how can I improve? How can I make this better? How do I need to be charging? And how is that going to work not only in my favor but for my client's experience, right?
Right, right. It's always evolving, right? And
Always.
you have to pivot with, I mean, every single thing of our business. I don't know about you, but it's definitely something I'm constantly thinking about, even dreaming about. So let me ask you, you have a little boy. How old is he?
He's 16 months.
Oh my goodness. How
Yeah.
sweet. And I'm sure that changed a lot, or maybe not. I don't know if you have a lot of support, but I'm assuming that changed some things in your business.
Oh yeah. It has definitely pivoted my business for the better, I
Huh.
feel like. Um I can be a little bit of a workaholic, and it has really taught me to slow down, that my time is so precious and valuable. Like, my son is only going to be this little for like every day he's changing like dramatically, I feel like. And so I don't want to just miss out on that for anything. And so, yeah, it's changed quite a bit in my business.
So having your son and not wanting to miss time, does that mean that you're shooting less weddings and that's going to be like a temporary thing? Or it doesn't mean that because you have plenty of support with like your husband and parents?
Yeah, so my husband is actually my second shooter.
Oh,
He's been my second for 7 or 8 years. So it's a little bit difficult when we're working a wedding together, but I am very blessed. My parents and his parents live literally 5 minutes away from each other. Um, and so our parents live closer to each other than we live to either of them. So
wow.
we get to like drop our little guy off anytime. They're amazing, wonderful, super supportive. Um, but it has changed a couple of things in regard to how much I want to take on. I think for me, it's kind of made me appreciate associate shooting a lot more so that I don't have to edit so much. So I feel like I'm picking up a lot more associate and second shooting. Not
Oh, I see. So you're the one doing, I don't know why I thought you meant that you're now hiring associate photographers more. You're saying that you're the
Oh,
one doing that.
well, I've been doing that too. It's kind of a tricky balance, and I feel like I if I have something booked on a date already and it's a couple that I really want to work with, I will figure out how to hire an associate to get them to work. So literally next weekend, I'm shooting a wedding and I have an associate covering one for me. And it's just simply because I love that couple so much that I wanted to make sure I was still part of their wedding day. But I'm also taking on, if I don't have weddings booked, I will associate shoot now for other photographers and second shoot even, just because honestly I really enjoy it. I don't know why some people bag on second shooting because it is literally so much fun.
I love that you just said that. I still second shoot once in a while too. I think like especially if you're not shooting a ton of weddings a year, it's a great way to keep that skill set up.
Mhm.
But you're right. For some reason, it's like looked down upon. Like I don't understand why. I love second shooting because then you can be a little more creative. Like I wish on at my own weddings that I was second shooter. I wish I could
Mhm.
reverse roles, but
Yeah.
you can't. You have to be front facing. The couples chose you, but
Mhm.
it's just so much more fun, you're right, and then you don't have to edit, so that's great.
Yeah, it just frees up a little bit of time, but I think there's a misconception with second shooting where people think that if you're second shooting, you're not as good as the head photographer or lead, or um that you're just taking, like, I feel like especially when just starting out, I feel like people say that you're just shooting to get extra shots in case something goes wrong or something happens. But realistically, when you're shooting luxury weddings, you're shooting everything that the lead isn't shooting.
Yeah.
And you're capturing the moments that the bride and groom expect. Like,
Hmm.
to have that they're not witnessing, or they're not necessarily a part of, like, I don't know, like a tear in the crowd, or a child running into the aisle for just a quick second, or anything that is just, you have to anticipate as a second shooter. I feel like maybe even more so than a lead sometimes, because
Right.
that's the expectation. So I love second shooting. I could talk about second shooting all day.
I actually wanted to talk more about second shooting in this podcast because it's something that I think is really important, such an important component of wedding photography in general. And you're right about when you're at the luxury level and you're hiring second shooters. I always tell my couples, I'm hiring another me.
Mhm.
Same experience, same high-end equipment, and I trust them so much that they're not getting backup shots, like you said.
Yeah.
Um, they're just getting something else that needs to be, shot, and, um, yeah, and especially I think for starting out for photographers, building that experience, second shooting is so, so important. Did it so I know you shot your first wedding probably without second shooting, but did you
Yeah.
do that also towards the beginning?
You know what? This is gonna sound crazy. I think I second shot maybe 2 weddings before I just was headfirst in my own business shooting weddings.
Wow.
Um, I don't know if I would recommend that for everybody, but, I think that I had enough practice and confidence in other situations
Mhm.
and scenarios that I felt very adaptable and confident enough to shoot them on my own.
So, yeah, I know you mentioned your mentor, but would you, like, ask your mentor, like, questions that would come up, or would you also, like, Google things? Like, how did you feel
Yeah.
what helped you feel confident in those first, like, few weddings?
Um, that's a great question. I feel like, so my mentor, shout out to Gina Lee. She was just incredible. I felt like she really took me in and taught me more of the client relationship and business aspect. And I think she really instilled in me that I was a great photographer and just needed to shoot with confidence. And if I wasn't confident, other people would feel that. They would see it. It would come out in my imagery. And so I don't remember necessarily, like, calling her up and asking a billion questions, but I do remember having sort of like those really awkward moments or something that happened. I remember going to her and saying, like, I messed up. I don't know how I'm gonna fix this. How do I fix it? And it was more of the background business side that I feel like not a lot of photographers talk about in order to maintain those client relationships. And also, at the time, we were in, like, peak blogger, model, like, boho, everything era, and I felt like there was just a different vibe in the wedding industry back
Mhm.
then than there is today. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. And uh, another difference that I've noticed from then, because I was definitely in it, because well, I started in 2016, so I think we're talking about that era, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
but one thing I've noticed is that it seems like it's just gotten so much more popular to want to be in the luxury level of weddings to the point where I just see ads all over the place like, make so much a year or the one that's super popular that I always hear is work less, make more,
Yeah.
but so what do you think about that? Do you think that there's like even more competition at that level because for some reason everybody wants to be there, because you can be successful and even make more money than a luxury photographer by doing, average price weddings and just shooting a little more. I mean, I don't even think
Yeah.
that's a bad thing because again, it keeps your skill set up. You can be prepared for anything that happens because you're constantly at weddings. I mean, not constantly.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone wants to shoot a wedding every single weekend, right?
Yeah. No,
Anyway, sorry.
that's way too much.
I feel like I just went off on a tangent of like 5 different things. So if you
Yeah.
add to that.
No, I feel like honestly, I have a hard time sometimes with the term luxury and what that means because realistically, like every couple is so different. And I think a lot of people associate luxury with monetary value. Like, well, how much is this wedding total going to cost? Or how much, like, what venue is this couple going to get married at? And if the price tag is higher on all of that, then automatically it's like, oh, that's a luxury wedding. But at the same time, like, I've shot for some celebrities that have lower, quote unquote, budget weddings, but have more celebrity presence there that have like I'm just thinking of a couple weddings that I've just shot recently.
Mhm.
It's so low key compared. They're not getting married at like the Ritz Carlton or the Montage. They're getting married in a place that's meaningful to them.
Mhm.
It's more about what they want rather than the elevation of it. It's not a huge, gigantic wedding. And I'm sure you've seen this too. I feel like I'm getting a lot of micro, smaller weddings this year. Um, and yeah, I just don't think luxury necessarily means monetary value sometimes. And I think that's hard to get.
I think we should definitely stop using that word. It's just so overused. Oh my god, I don't even know what other word to use. What would be a good word to replace luxury? An elevated experience? I don't know. That comes in all different forms, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. The stereotypical luxury, meaning the wedding budget, is something that is too focused on because we have like you said, micro weddings in like Italy, like, or
Mhm.
a backyard wedding that is still super elevated and the couple cared about. It's really what the couple cares about. Some people don't value photography as much. I've heard this lately. There's a lot of couples that are venue poor, because they
Yeah.
really care about showing off that they got married at this venue. So I think for us, it's really important to find those couples that really value what we do.
Mhm.
Is there something that you do in order to find those clients that you think will really value you? Is like, do you
Yeah.
advertise? Do you
Oh.
focus on social media, word of mouth?
I feel like the majority of my clients come from word of mouth now, but I would say
Great.
back when I was building my clientele more, um, social media was kind of everything. And let me just be clear, I got hacked in 2020.
Oh no.
So I had a bigger following. I think I had like 16 or 17,000 followers back then.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, got hacked, lost all of that, and now I'm sitting at like, I don't know, like 3,000 or something like that. But I think a lot of times people associate that too with like legitimacy when it's maybe not the case. I don't know. Now I'm going on something
No, Jen,
completely
no,
different,
let's
but
just stay there for a second because you're so right. Because those 3,000 followers are actually like high value followers. I've like thrown everything at the wall when it comes to finding clients. And so, of course, social media was a big part. I've worked on it for so many years. But for sure, like they say that having 3,000 followers who are highly interested in the content you put out is just a lot better than having just a number there. There's different techniques of gaining more followers, and that also means that they're not, the percentage of your views and all that is not as high, even though your number of followers high. So I think for social media, the best thing is to have that engagement. And I don't know about you, but I feel like engagement in general has gone down.
yeah,
So
no,
I,
definitely.
are people just getting a little bit tired of social media. I feel like I'm on it a little less myself.
Dude, I don't know, it's rough out there. I was waiting for, like, the perfect moment to post this photo last night, and I'm like, "I'm gonna pick this perfect song, the caption's gonna be short, sweet, to the point, but, like, cute, a little SEO in there," like, had it in my drafts for literally weeks. Post it, crickets, and I'm like, "This photo is so good, and I'm so upset that nobody is liking it."
Oh,
And so you get into your own head, but at the end of the day, I think to myself, the right client, the right couple, the right person, like, realistically, they could see that photo and go, "Okay, that's who I want." And so I think a lot of times, and I have struggled with this so much in the last, honestly, since getting hacked, because you're rebuilding and you feel like you're putting yourself out there again. But sometimes I don't want to post because I'm comparing my work to other people, or I'm a perfectionist in the sense that I, like, go to post it and realize there was something tiny in the background I didn't edit out, or,
that's me
whatever,
too.
or it's like Dutch angle, but not the right Dutch angle, which I don't even do Dutch angle, so I'm like, "Why am I shooting like this?" And just I don't even know was that I'm just it's
You
so
sound like
hard.
me.
I somebody told me that I have analysis paralysis, where I
Um,
analyze everything so much that I'm just, like, frozen, and I think that was the perfect way to describe it.
oh
So,
my gosh, Jenny,
uh,
we are the same.
I
It
believe it.
I think a lot of us are perfectionists, right? But
Yeah.
oh man, I totally understand the like I've had to delete posts because there was like this little object in the background that I didn't remove.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. So I feel like we didn't finish the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
like how do you procure your clients? Like but that's really great that it's mostly word of mouth. I think that's the most rewarding way. Like you don't even have to like try to sell yourself. Your work and your relationship with whoever referred you, it already sold you, right? Like you get on a discovery call or a consultation call with that couple and you're like 90% of the way there. They just want to make sure like they vibe with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times that's how it is, and to be transparent, I'm in a place where I wouldn't necessarily say that I work with a planner every single time that I'm photographing a wedding, and sometimes, like, I feel like that's also something luxury. We could talk about that. We're not gonna go there. We're gonna stay on track. Like, I feel like sometimes there isn't a planner, and so I have to take over that, and, oh, man, I can't even remember where I was going with this. Hold on.
Oh,
My
oh,
brain.
well, um, I was talking about like how when you're referred, by
Oh,
like a past couple, let's say, or I mean, so
yeah.
you told me that word of mouth is a big source of how you gain your clients, and I actually think that's the best kind because that means that you really gave such an outstanding experience to your couple that they referred you, or sometimes like one of the bridesmaids referred you, or an uncle or a mom. Like that says so much about your talent, and not just that, but like the way that you handle yourself and your personality. I mean, I can already tell that everyone loves you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I wouldn't say everybody. There are a
What?
couple people I can think of on the top of my head that I'm
Oh,
probably gonna, yeah, but, no, I feel like, honestly, my personality is definitely something that I think is probably my favorite part about me. I think I have a great personality. I can vibe with literally anybody, like, and I think that's just part of how I was raised. Like, my mom really instilled in me to make sure that other people feel comfortable, and there is something that you can find in common with literally anybody, and so I feel like my clients and we depending on the client and what that looks like and how much interaction they want, I feel like I do a pretty good job of making sure that they feel really comfortable, but they also have a good time. Like, I have a client coming up next weekend, and the groom already told me, like, he feels so uncomfortable. He hates being in front of the camera. He said, "I need you to, like, make me laugh, but I need you to actually make me laugh. So I need you to memorize, like, dad jokes or something like that." And I'm like, okay, like, this is now part of my job. I have to memorize some good dad jokes to have in my arsenal to pull out so that I can get this guy to actually smile and laugh, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of things that people don't see in the background, but I think that's why people refer me. I've done a bride's makeup after she's cried. I've
Wow.
I've gotten red wine out of a dress. Everybody use club soda. Just as a heads up, club soda
Yes.
will get anything out. Like, I feel like I've kind of done everything at this point just because I've shot weddings for so long and such
Mhm.
a variety of different clients that I want to make sure that everybody has a good interaction and a great experience with me. That's my number one. Client experience is number one.
I agree. That's probably even more important than like the photography because, I think if you're, let's just say like you're charging a certain amount, like it's already expected that you're going
Yeah.
to be a good photographer. Like that's something that right off the bat you see. And then, so that's why I think the way that you make a couple feel because you're with them all day, that's like so important for sure. And I want to get back to how you talked about how how some of your weddings don't have planners,
Mhm.
and that's a whole thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, are other photographers alienating couples who don't have a planner? I have heard of like on their like contact form, they ask, "Who's your planner?" Or like, "If you don't have a planner, I'm not going to work with you." Not in those words, but
Yeah, no, I actually just saw I was kinda creeping on somebody's website the other day just because I was like, I kinda wanna see how they, like, put their pricing on their website because I feel like that's something else that Gen Z has really been wanting, like, that you're upfront about your pricing, not start at, not whatever. So anyways, I was creeping on this
yeah,
person's website, and they had in their, like, inquiry form, "Who is your planner?" with, like, a little caveat that basically said, like, I only work with couples who have designated planners, not day of coordinators, or something to that extent. It was much more eloquent, but I feel like it's definitely um, something that I know I feel a little awkward sometimes talking to other photographers about it. And so I want to be transparent and just say, like, outright, I don't work with planners all the time.
I understand why photographers would rather have a planner there,
Yes.
and I appreciate a planner being able like to do the timeline for me because when the planner's not there, we kind of by default, right, become a coordinator on the day of. And so, of course, that's not as desirable, but I'm not going to turn a couple away because they don't have a planner.
I think it can confuse people. I think it can make people second guess whether or not they really are a quote unquote luxury photographer or mid level or entry or whatever. Because if the expectation coming from the very top is you have to have a planner and you're here, but you're charging here and you feel like you're creeping into this zone and all of a sudden you don't have a planner at the wedding, then you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, should I be taking this if this is the expectation? And I'm over here with the way that I like to work. I'm like, yes, that's totally fine. However, let me suggest some planners. And if you go with them, great. And if you decide not to, that's okay too. But the expectation and the transparency of, okay, I will help you with your timeline. I am going to push things along. I am going to do these things for you, but also I'm not a planner. Go, I can't take your photos and go coordinate with the caterer and make sure that your decor is set and make sure that everything else in the background is like flowing seamlessly. I can only control the things that I can kind of control. And even then, I don't really have control. You know what I mean?
See, that's what I was talking about. Like, I feel like because you were a teacher, like, you know what to say to like really inform your couples. Cause yes, I think that's part of it too, like educating them. Always ask them if they have a planner. And if they don't, kind of like you, I say like, well, you can think about maybe like just a day of coordinator, which is really like what, a couple months before, right? They start
Hmm.
having the couple.
Yeah.
Um, at least that, and then just I'm sure you also tell them that it would reduce a lot of stress on the
Yes.
day. Aunt Sue isn't putting the fevers out or whatever. So
Yeah. Definitely. And you want your family present too. You don't want them worrying about everything day of. I remember that was a super big concern, even at my own wedding, is telling my mom, like, I know you want everything to be perfect for me, but I need you to be present with me and not trying to make everything in the background perfect. So these people are going to make sure that that's happening so that you can be with me.
Oh, and so speaking of your wedding, how did you choose your photographer since you were already in the industry?
Yeah, so my photographer was Loriana Fortuna. I don't know if you know who she is, but
Oh,
she's fabulous. Her work is absolutely stunning. Um, we actually go to the same church or went to the same church.
I love
And
that.
so we just kind of I had known her kind of through the grapevine and just being in a smaller town, like I think we knew who each other was. Um, but like the second that I got engaged to my husband, actually, no, that is
Go
a lie. Before I was engaged to my husband, we met with her to go over pricing and packaging and everything like that because I just knew that I wanted something very like more airy, more room to breathe, more just somebody that I could really trust in that moment, and so I just loved her, and I loved every single photo that she took at the wedding was gorgeous, and our wedding was pretty. Like, it's funny because it's traditional, but I feel like it's not traditional in today's age. Um,
What was your style?
so I'm like, I have a photo right here,
Oh, show it, show it.
but, we got married in the middle of a field,
Oh, beautiful.
and
That
we
looks, yeah.
like, literally, I used to say that when I was younger, that I just wanted to be barefoot in the middle of the field. And, so there happened to be this gorgeous field with these beautiful mountains right behind the church that we attend. And so
Oh,
when, when we were talking about what we were gonna do venue-wise and stuff, my husband was an Eagle Scout or is technically, I don't think they ever lose that, but he said, "Hey, like, my old Boy Scout house is right there, and I bet we could ask them if we could use their field," and I'm like, "That's my dream." And so it was just this very, like, whimsical, beautiful day in April, and it was gorgeous, and so we had the ceremony in that field, and, like, our family members went out and mowed all of the, like, high stuff down. It was so sweet. They made, like, a little rock sort of semicircle so that we could get married right there, and it's really special because it's literally a 2-minute walk from where we are every single Sunday. So, like, we can
oh,
take our families there and go have a picnic there if we wanted to, but I don't know of anybody else that's ever gotten married there.
oh
So
my
it's
god.
just really special.
Yeah, so much more special. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
lo I really like when couples do something that's just more meaningful to them, and that's something that you're gonna always think about for sure. Did you have a videographer? Did you get those moments in video too? No?
Oh, man. Okay, yes. Yes, we did.
Oh,
I'm saying, "Oh, man," because okay, so it was Stagecoach weekend, and the person that I wanted to do my videography was like, "I'm gonna be at Stagecoach. I'm so sorry. Love you." Because I
oh,
worked with him, like, a lot back in the day. So I was like, "Alright, fine, Bradley. Don't show up to my wedding. It's fine." But no, he actually was really sweet and was going to, and I told him, "No, go to Stagecoach." But my bridesmaid, one of my bridesmaids, Tegan Connor, she is amazing, and I didn't want her to work the day of my wedding because she was my bridesmaid, and, she made it happen along with another, like, friend's husband, and so I do have video of our wedding day. It's just really funny because it wasn't necessarily, like, a videographer or a it was sort of, like, just the community that was like, "We wanna support you, Jenny. We're gonna make this happen regardless." And I was like, "Well, I can't have anybody other than Bradley or Tegan here. It's one or the other." And so, anyways, they pulled together and it's beautiful and I'm really thankful that we have it.
oh, I love that. You know what?
Yeah.
Something I've noticed about you is that you really are about the community in this industry. Not I can't say that about everyone, but I feel like that's something that is very innate in you to like have these genuine relationships to the point where like they're in your wedding party. And you and I met at a society privé group, networking group, right? So how do you feel about these networking groups? There's like a million, it seems now. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. There's like what a few here in Southern California.
Yeah.
But
I I love it. Like, I was really nervous when I first joined society, like, about a year ago because I didn't consider myself a luxury photographer, and I had somebody who really believed in my work and believed in me and said, "You belong here, and you're gonna grow, and you're gonna learn, and you deserve to sit at this table with these people." And I was so internally nervous that I wasn't gonna fit in.
oh my
And
Jenny.
I know, but I'm just being honest because I feel like a lot of people would say, "No, I just, faked it till I made it," or whatever, like, whatever the thing is, but I was genuinely nervous the first time that I went. Um, it was on a Duffy boat, and it was, like, 10 people out in
Oh,
the middle of, like, Lido, and I was nervous, but I cannot, and I'm not just saying this because, like, you never know who's listening to the podcast or whatever, but I'm saying this because I genuinely mean it. It has changed my life for the better in literally every facet, not just in photography or in the sense of, like, who I am as a business owner, my confidence in what I'm charging, or my back end, all of that stuff is helpful. But realistically, like, my life is so much richer with the community that I've built through society. Like, I don't even know how to explain how wonderful it has been for me.
I think you're such an asset to these networking groups because, well, you're in society and soon you're going to be in curate.
I
I
hope so.
I told Robin all about how you need to be in it. So,
Oh,
um,
thank you.
yeah, and I think it's great to be in a variety, like maybe 2 or 3. There's something different that you get from each group, and there are different people, in all parts of the industry. So I really love it when besides like getting to know others, they incorporate education and
Mhm.
experiences. That makes it fun too. But I
Yeah,
think I'm sure that you were talking about some of what you've gotten education wise also from some of these speakers, right?
definitely. Yeah. I mean, the speakers are amazing. Like, they always have people who are just experts at whatever they do. And they're almost, some of them are almost so niche too, like social
Yeah.
media or specifically on pricing or profit or whatnot, that you just learn so much. And I feel like if you are there just for the social interaction or just to make the connection, I feel like there's kind of like this false sense of, if I get into this group, I'm going to make relationships with these people and then I'm going to work with them or whatever. And, like, to a certain extent, I understand that, but also, like, you need to be in it for you and your own business in a completely different way. If it doesn't work out with anybody else there, that you're never going to work with them, but they are going to be your colleagues and sit at the same table as you. Like, how can you better yourself so that everybody at the table can also better themselves? It's not all about just making the connection to work. It's about building each other up, pushing each other forward, and really elevating all of us. And so I love it.
I think you're so right. I love it too. For me, I think it's the community that's the most important.
Mhm.
And I wish I were a little more business minded when it comes to like, making connections to then foster working relationships. But I can't. I don't think that way. For me, it's just like the connections and just feeling like I have, we don't have coworkers per se
Yes.
that you see on a daily basis. And then so we do see each other, when we work together on weddings, but a lot of times there's just no time to like even have a bit of a conversation. So it's just so nice and refreshing to hear different viewpoints and to hear what people are up to and just see
Yeah.
some smiling faces in this industry. Um
Well, you get so close with them too. Like, I like, at the end of the day, these are people. They're not just business owners. And so I feel like I've made genuine friendships. Like, I feel like I'm sending people voice memos and checking in, or, like, there's even an accountability aspect with one person in the group where we're like, "Okay, did you post? Like, are you going to post? You need post." Like, different relationships, and you're going to mesh with some people more than others. We're all humans, But really, there isn't a single person that I've met in society who hasn't been absolutely fantastic and kind and genuine and authentic. And so they do a really good job of making sure whoever is in is like creme de la creme, if you will.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, people have stereotypes of the vendors in the luxury industry, and I've actually heard of, like, photographers who definitely have egos, but you're right, I don't feel like that we have that in society per se, and I also like that it's a networking group that's international, so,
Yeah.
like, "Heck, Jenny, we should go to Paris to one of the
Let's
brunches."
go. Let's go.
But it's great. I'm already doing destination weddings, but I would love to do more. I mean, not too much, right? Because my kids are older, way older than yours, um,
But
10 and
still.
14. But yeah, I mean, I can't even. I remember your son's age, and that was definitely you're in the thick of it for sure.
Yeah.
Have you traveled for weddings?
I have, yes. So I just traveled last year up towards like San Francisco. So that wasn't like super far or anything, but I had just had my son. So I felt pretty dang special that my first wedding back was up in San Mateo. I loved that. And I got to take my son and my husband and my mom with me. And like
Oh,
the
that's
support
nice.
system is just amazing. Um, but yeah, I've shot over like East Coast, Pennsylvania, and Maryland.
Oh, beautiful.
And yeah, but I'm looking to do more. I would love to be able to really expand my network and be able to travel more, and it's on my list. It's more of like a 5 to 10-year plan, but
Mhm.
I want to make sure that like my son can go and do those things with us too. Like who's to not say that, we go and we shoot a wedding somewhere and it's maybe a 2-day event or whatnot, and then we stay like 2 or 3 days for ourselves and take advantage of the fact that we're over there or whatnot. More destination weddings for sure. What about you? Have you shot a lot of destination?
Yeah, I think my last one was in what was it, in October in Hawaii.
Oh,
And then,
so
this year I'm going to Germany and Lake Como towards
ooh.
the summer and then back in the going to Lake Como twice. But yeah, I feel like I know it's so typical, like everyone wants to be in Europe, but I really do love Europe so much. And
Mhm.
the challenge in wanting to do destination weddings abroad is that surprisingly, those photographers and videographers don't charge compared to what we do. So those who want you there, and
Uh,
um but yeah, there's more logistics and all that. But for me, for someone who loves to travel, it's like it's totally worth it. I kind of try to carry light when I go, but I don't know about you. Like, do you use lights and stuff? And
no, I
okay,
am like an on-camera flash person. I
good.
don't use anything sort of like external or like standwise or anything like that. I should say I'm pretty minimalist when it comes to shooting because I feel like that's how I was taught to just make sure that you're a little bit more discreet so that, you can have that sort of documentary style. I just shot a wedding reception recently, and like my couple specifically asked me, please do not use flash at all. We're going to have a ton of market lights. We are going to have a bunch of candles. Like, unless it is absolutely necessary, please do not use flash because there were a couple of celebrities there and they didn't want to feel like they were on camera the whole night. And so I was, very mindful of how I was shooting, just like I'm sure I did listen to your podcast that you use on camera flash as well. But I'm sure
Yeah.
you probably go through the same thing. You work with celebrities, you know how it goes, you know?
I mean, to be honest, the celebrities that I work with all want that flash look because it kind of makes their skin look more even.
I don't know. I feel like I go back and forth. Like I still use on-camera flash, and I enjoy what it looks like to a certain extent, but I feel like I was taught ambient light, I was taught low light, I was taught green is okay to a certain extent, and so just like we were talking about like own your eye earlier, that is not going to be for everybody, and that's okay, but also as a professional, I need to make sure that I know how to use a dang flash and do it well, right?
Yeah, but I'm with you when it needs to be
Yeah.
used. I can't remember if I know what system you use for your camera.
Oh, so I use Canon. Mhm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I do too, and I'm assuming you have a mirrorless camera.
Yes, I shoot with an R5 primarily.
Okay, nice. I didn't jump to the R5, but I wonder if I should. I just have I have 2 R6s.
Honestly, I hear that they're pretty comparable. I've never shot with an R6, so I can't attest to that, but I've heard that they're pretty comparable.
Those R5 files are humongous too.
Yes, they are. So much
Lots
storage.
of storage space, yes.
So much
But,
storage.
with the mirrorless cameras, like, we can totally go higher on the ISO. And
Yeah.
like you said, I'm okay with green. And then the Lightroom noise reduction special tool that it has, like, it
Yeah,
does a really great job. So,
it
um,
does.
I think, like, using ambient light as much as you can just evokes a little bit more emotion too. It's not like just super clean and bright. You were saying you wanted that for your own wedding, a more like light and airy look.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Is what style do you as a photographer have?
You know, I have been refining that, and I am very confident when I say that I like to have a little bit of range. So I can't remember who it was that coined the term loose editorial.
Oh,
Like, that you're just this, like, mix of documentary and editorial, like, sort of combined because certain moments call for one thing while others call for something different. Like, I have clients who have wanted a lot more, um, guidance, I'll say.
mhm.
They want guidance when it's the 2 of them, but they want everything else to be completely candid. And so it's this balance and this mix of me going, "Okay, how do I make sure that they love the way that they look and that they're feeling beautiful and confident and well posed to a certain extent, while
Right.
also feeling effortless and joyful and maybe even a little bit sassy sometimes or edgy," right? Like, it all sort of depends. So I feel like I like to say that I have a little bit of range when it comes to the way that I shoot, but styling and editing wise, I would say that I also feel like I have a little bit of range. My, like, favorite quote unquote style would be more clean, uh true-ish to color. I don't like heavy filters. I don't like heavy overlays or anything like that. I'm more of the traditional, like, style, but definitely more luminous, crisp, with a little bit of grain, a little bit more true to color, but warm and joyful.
And I saw that you have Luminous on your Instagram, like,
Yep.
caption, and
Uh-huh.
I love that. I don't know, I haven't seen any other photographer use that to describe their style, and I that word is just beautiful.
I think my line says luminous imagery, joyful presence. I think that pretty much sums it up. Like, but I can't even take credit for that word.
No?
One of my favorite photographers used that word, and I was like, that is it. But a shout out to Elizabeth Messina for using the term luminous.
I know Elizabeth, I mean, not personally, but I know who Elizabeth Messina is. I feel like, a lot of the same words are being thrown out there. So as soon as I saw that, I'm like, wow, that's definitely more unique. And then the joyful part, you have to put that in there. You just evoke that like instantly. So
Thank you.
yeah.
I appreciate it. I feel like I was just listening to something talking about, like, just, how you act on wedding day or different things like that. And I definitely feel like my couples, even if I am background, like, if they make eye contact with me, I'm smiling at them. I'm making sure that they know, like, everything's great?
Do you feel like you can get a little bit like more loose at the end of the night? Like, are you dancing with them on the dance floor?
Oh my gosh. It depends on the couple and it
Yeah.
depends on the expectations that we've sort of set. I do kind of ask about that a little bit in my, like, consults with them. Not necessarily like, "Hey, can I dance on the dance floor with you guys?" But but I am transparent in the sense that I'm like, "Do you want me to blend in with your guests? Do you want me to feel like to everybody else that I'm just a guest having a good time? Do you need me to be a hype person? Do you need me to be a fly on the wall? What is your expectation of me so that I can meet that?" Because at the end of the day, even though my personality says, "Heck yeah, I'd get on the middle of that dance floor," My professionalism says, what is our expectation and what is the service that I'm going to be providing for you, and that is what I'm going to do. So it depends, but
I
I
love
would
to have that communication with your couples, right?
yeah,
To set those expectations. Do you do that like on like one call like before the wedding? Do you have a questionnaire?
I don't have a questionnaire. I feel like I'm more personal relationship based, and so I feel like just like we're having this conversation and it's flowing naturally, that's usually what happens. Like, of course, I'll ask them a couple of questions like, if it's important, how did you guys meet? How long have you been together? Do you guys have a favorite restaurant or favorite things that you like to do, like hobby wise? Because I always want to be thinking, like, if I'm going to gift them something later, like,
Mhm.
I want it to be personal. I don't just want it to be something that any other person off the street could give them. I want it to mean something. And
Yeah.
so those conversations, even like the dance floor questions and those things, they pop up a little bit more naturally. It's just like the guy who told me to tell him dad jokes. It was like, what am I going to do to make you feel most comfortable? And that was his response. So here I am memorizing dad jokes. Like,
Oh my gosh. Um, Give me one. Do you have one?
oh my gosh, I feel like I can't when I'm on the spot. Okay, okay, this one's so dumb. Um, why was the tomato blushing?
Why?
Because he saw the salad dressing.
Oh, that's a really cute one. I've never heard that one.
A little cheeky. That one's more for a bride, but
Yeah.
they did say, like, you might have to mix in some for her too. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have some prepared for her, especially like that would be cute if she was getting ready and
Mhm.
kind of feeling awkward, or I could see her being tense and I could just like say that really quick while she's getting dressed. Like, I don't know.
That is so cute. I love it.
Thanks.
I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Yeah, it'll be great. I'm excited.
All right, so let me ask you, well, so this last Society Privé event, I love Lori with H&L Lovely and LVL
Yeah.
Wedding. Oh my gosh, she's the best, and she organized it. She usually incorporates something besides the brunch, right? Because with Society Privé, it's like your monthly brunch, and she's
Mhm.
brought in education. And this time we had like a discussion
Yeah.
amongst, and one thing that stuck with me was she asked, what is something that we do behind the scenes that couples would have no idea that we do? Like, I think by now people realize that it's more than just pressing a button on a camera, but what is something that you do that couples have no idea that, you take time to do so on the back end?
Oh man, that's such a good question. I could think of something just as simple as like, this might sound so dumb to people, but like getting into the mood to edit, like and making sure that my environment or my headspace is really like ready to go. So I have a bunch of little playlists, especially if there's like a song that was playing at that wedding. Like, okay, something else untraditional that I did recently. I
Mhm.
picked the first dance song for a couple.
What? That's
Yes.
amazing.
Then after I had picked that song, I was listening to it literally on repeat, probably the entire time that I was editing their wedding because I'm like, this is bringing me back. Like, this is putting me back in this, like, creative, fun headspace. Because editing can get a little tedious sometimes. Like,
Yeah,
I was just
monotonous.
editing exit signs. I was editing exit signs out of photos yesterday, I think for, I kid you not, probably, like, 3 hours
Oh,
straight.
no. There were
Like,
that many.
so many exit signs. But I think that other things that they see or that they don't see that I'm doing behind the scenes would be, like, scoping out their location ahead of time, maybe
Mm.
doing like a venue tour without them, communicating with other vendors, even about things that might not be necessarily relevant for them to know, but on my end, it's super important. Like talking to a DJ about what type of lasers they're going to be using so it doesn't hit my camera and cause issues, or lighting them up like green so that they look like the Hulk so I don't have to put every single photo in black and white.
Oh,
um,
I don't love those.
I don't love those, no, and so I think just the communication that goes past what they're seeing, because it really is like when you're a wedding photographer, I feel like you feel everything if it's going right or wrong, and your job is to make sure that there is a seamless experience, and a lot of that is going on behind the back that they don't even know is happening.
Yeah, and this is a good point for those newer photographers out there. We have to be proactive and make sure that we're super prepared on the day of. And if that means doing a venue tour because you haven't shot there, then you should take the time to do that for sure.
Yeah, even if that means that you're driving for a couple of hours or whatnot, like, you don't for me at least, I don't charge the client more to take a day to go and do that. For me, it's my responsibility as a photographer, whether I'm taking 30 minutes on the day of to go like early to scope it out or on a separate day, like to meet with some of the staff that's working there, or if they have like an on site planner, if they're one of those venues that won't allow external planners to come in. Like, I want to take the time to make sure that I know my lighting, I know where I'm going to put the family because you don't want to be scrambling. Like, again, calm, joyful, confident presence, not chaotic.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't want to waste time trying to figure
Yeah.
out where's the best place to shoot romantics, or the first look.
Yeah.
So, yeah, super important.
Mhm.
Well, Jenny, is there anything that you think you want to add to this episode that I haven't asked you that you think would be helpful?
Oh my gosh. I feel like the one thing that I just need to say, especially because you had mentioned that, like, this podcast is for everybody and including beginning photographers. You guys are entering at such a different space than what it was like when I entered. That doesn't mean that you cannot be successful, and that does not mean that you have any less of a shot at making this a full-time career than anybody else. Like, you have to put in the hard work. You have to make sure that you are learning from your mistakes and being willing to grow. Like, everybody makes mistakes. Even like, I just made a mistake at a wedding. That's why I have a second shooter who made sure that they covered it or whatever happens, right?
Yeah.
But you have to learn, you have to refine, you have to move forward, and you can't let one mistake or one error or one bad shoot or bad wedding define who you are as a photographer. And you just have to go for it. Like, I feel like nowadays everybody's so caught up on the cringe of everything. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares. Like, be cringy, be that person. And I'm telling you, your cringe will get you so much further than the person who's too scared because they're concerned about looking cringy. Like, just go for it and have fun and be yourself and do it all.
Well, Jenny, thank you so, so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate everything that you said. And I feel like there was so much like uncovered that hadn't been talked about before. So I really appreciate that. And can you tell my listeners where they can find you?
Yes. So I would say the best place to find me is on Instagram or TikTok at Jenny Garrett Co. And shoot me a DM. Like, let me know if you guys have any questions or if you, I don't know, want Lisette and I to talk about something else eventually one day if I ever come back on the podcast. Like,
Love to have you back on the podcast. And yes, please let us know. I always love feedback and, give me ideas for the next podcast episode. And let's bring Jenny back for sure.
thank you, Lisette. It was so much fun. I really appreciate all of it.
All right. Well, I'll be seeing you soon. Thanks again.
Okay. You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.